Chapter 4. What We Owe to Others, the 12th of April 2179. See you later, Mom. Good luck today, stay safe. The door closed, leaving Inko sitting alone at the kitchen table. Inko had hoped that UA would be a clean break, that the new school would finally allow Izuku to make friends. But she certainly hadn't expected a friend over for dinner after only the orientation day. And she certainly hadn't expected the friend to look like a teenage version of the husband she hadn't seen in 6 years. It could only mean that the boy was one of his. But Inko would not hold that against the boy, after all it meant that he and Izuku were brothers. Although, she would not be telling Izuku that. Gripping the mug of tea, Inko smiled. Watching Izuku and Mikumo poring over the latter's designs last night had reminded her of a time when Izuku was little, when they had planned to have 2 children, not 1. But times change. What has been done could not be undone. Sneakers slapped the pavement as Izuku jogged down the street, weaving past pedestrians as he made his way towards the UA campus. After breaking his arm and legs in the entrance exam, Izuku had redoubled his focus on his physical training. The more muscle mass he built, the less backlash he received from One for All. Even if Izuku did manage to find and copy a regeneration quirk, he wouldn't be able to rely on it for every punch. Morning, Midoriya. Izuku smiled and waved to Yaoyorozu as he came to a halt. Good morning, Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu nodded, slipping on her shoulder bag as the limo drove away. The 2 hero aspirants fell in step as they entered the UA campus, thankfully unaccosted by reporters due to their earliness. Do you mind if I ask you a question about your quirk? Yaoyorozu pointed at herself. My quirk? Why yeah. Sure. Izuku smiled. I just wondered, since I saw you creating that bicycle for the long-distance run yesterday, does your quirk have a limit? On size and material composition? Yaoyorozu tapped her chin with her finger as she thought. In terms of physical size I am limited by the area of my skin it's produced from. As for composition, I have to know the molecular structure of what I am creating. But I am also limited by the lipid content of my body. So your quirk transforms the lipids in your body into other materials, right? Yes, it is why I need to eat so much, to replace it. Why do you ask? Izuku looked bashful. Oh, I was asking for a friend really. Ichi's part of the support course here at UA. But some of the materials he needs are beyond the budget support students are given. I see, if you introduce me I would be glad to lend him my aid. Izuku beamed. Thanks. I'd better go get washed and changed. I'm not sure Aizawa would appreciate the unique odor I've currently got. Yaoyorozu hid a chuckle behind her hand. Sure, I will see you in the classroom. With that, Izuku set off for the changing rooms, quickly peeling off his sweaty workout gear and hopping in a shower. As he soaked under the stream of hot water, Izuku allowed his mind to drift back to what Bakugo had said the day before. Don't think you can act like me just cause you copied my quirk. It had barely bothered Izuku at the time, but hours later when he was in bed, trying and failing to sleep, it had come back to him. The second Izuku had activated explosion on the train, a wave of confidence and bravado had surged through him. After that realization, sleep had evaded Izuku entirely. Instead, Izuku had spent hours experimenting with his quirks, cataloging the effect each had on his personality. Similarly to explosion, zero gravity had boosted his confidence, while also filling him with a frank honesty. Attraction had made him nervous, and even more prone to crying than he already was, while Heal had augmented his compassion and protectiveness. Initially, when testing the effect of Quirk Smith on his personality, Izuku had found no effect. That was until he realized the effect was an urge to analyze quirks. Finally, Izuku had tried One for All out of curiosity, finding it had no effect except odd green sparks when he held the power in his arm without using it. Drying off, Izuku pulled on his uniform, fumbling with his red tie until it looked halfway decent, albeit very short and very wide. Checking the time, Izuku's eyes widened into saucers. He was going to be late. Grabbing his bag, Izuku activated attraction, pulling himself along as he raced toward the 1A homeroom. Help me make babies. Mikumo flushed red as he leapt into the air. Help why you do what T? Make babies. I was worried that was what you said. Hatsume, can you please stop referring to your projects as babies? Mikumo's head turned, it was Powerloader who had spoken. Why's that? Hatsume tilted her head in confusion. Power Loader sighed before muttering to himself. Oh God, it's going to be one of those years. Clearing his throat, Power Loader composed himself. Hatsume, why are you bothering Akatani? This is free workshop time. Hatsume nodded. Right, you never said we couldn't work together. I wanted to ask Makumo if we could. Makumo, That's pretty forward of you. Power Loader chuckled. Fine, I'll allow it, that is if Akatani agrees of course. Just keep the explosions to a minimum. I make no promises. Hatsume grabbed Makumo's arm and pulled him over to her workstation. I didn't agree. Shush, that doesn't matter. Help. Power Loader smiled wryly as Hatsume dragged the poor boy off to his doom. Those two, working together, was going to be interesting to watch. I call this the wire arrow, it was my submission for the UA exam. Makumo looked down at the invention, a silver, metal harness with two grapples either side, the straps red and gold. If he had to guess, Makumo would say the grapples would be located either side of the user's stomach. It looks good, although any sudden pulling could cause the user a back injury. Maybe I should incorporate the wire arrow with chest armor, increase surface area, decrease the backlash. Why yeah, sounds like a good idea. Hatsume smiled, making a chill go down Makumo's spine. Good, cause you can help me do it. Me? Help you do it? Hatsume nodded. Well, we are going to be working together. We are, of course, silly. We're going to have to work together if you want to get that power suit of yours built in time for the sports festival. Makumo blanched. How do you know about the power suit? I got the designs out of your bag and read them when you went to the bathroom. You stole my designs? Hatsume shook her head. It's only stealing if you take something, I put them back. But, Makumo paused, he had no answer for that. So, why do you want to help me? What are you getting out of this? Hatsume beamed, she almost had him. Publicity, think of all the support companies clamoring after me if I help you become the first ever quirkless UA hero student. What? How? What? Your designs had hero suit for my future written on each page. Makumo wasn't satisfied. How do you know I'm quirkless? You're not stalking me, are you? Hatsume laughed, a wild sound that only managed to terrify Makumo more. Of course I'm not stalking you, Hatsume paused. Which, of course, is exactly what a stalker would say. Then how do you know? The train, yesterday afternoon, I was at the other end of the carriage, my quirk, zoom, lets me see up to 5 kilometers like I'm right there. Makumo nodded before dropping into thought. He had known that he didn't have the time to build the entire suit by the festival. He'd been planning on focusing on the gauntlets, boots, chest armor and visor, with the hope it would be enough. But now, with Hatsume's help, he had a chance to get it done. A chance to be a hero. Just like Midoriya had said he could be. Makumo nodded, smiled. All right, I'm Makumo Akatani, and I'm in. Hatsume grinned, her eyes almost looking like they were glowing. Great, I'm Mei Hatsume, your new partner. We're going to make so many babies together. From the other side of the room, Power Loader sighed. Izuku placed his backpack down next to his desk and sat down, fiddling with the hem of his gloves. The morning had dragged by, not to say that Izuku wasn't excited to have a pro hero like Midnight teaching him modern hero art history, but after the orientation day it felt almost anticlimactic. Lunch was good though, but now, it was time, hero basic training. I am coming through the door like a normal person. He's here, All Might burst through the doorway, filling the room with his sheer presence. Wow, it's still so amazing that All Might is teaching us to be heroes. Kaminari's grin was nearly as wide as Izuku's. That's his Silver Age costume, so retro, so manly. All Might flexed in front of the digital whiteboard. Hero basic training. All Might's voice rattled the windows. This is the class that'll put you through your paces. All sorts of special training will mold you into the heroes of the future. Therefore, today you shall begin with a bang, quite literally in your case, young Bakugo. Bakugo rolled his eyes. All Might paused, allowing tension to build. Battle training. The class cheered. Izuku gulped, watching as Bakugo's grin grew disturbingly manic. And so, you will be needing these. All Might pulled a remote from his eye-searingly red costume and pressed a button. 4 racks whirred as they extended out of the far wall of the classroom. revealing 5 metal briefcases set in each rack. Using the quirk registry and the special request forms you submitted when you applied to UA, costumes were developed for each of you, created by a design agency associated with the school. Costumes.